Hey everybody, and welcome to a Red Rockin' Wild Ride with Steve-O. This is the last thing we did before coming out to Australia, where I am now, with a bus that is actually working. This is just so exciting, and this Australia tour is off the charts. And this week's episode is Sammy Hagar. It is unbelievable how rich and, frankly, scandalous this guy's history is with Van Halen, with, what did he say, he got kicked out of every band he was ever in. And man, the amount of money this guy has made is shocking. Like, literally unbelievable. Plus, he couldn't be nicer. We had such a good time with Sammy Hagar, and so will you right now. So let's get into it. We got this great Liquid Death.
Oh, yeah. I know this stuff.
Thank you.
But yeah, fuck, man. And then we became friends. It's like he's one of my dear friends. I love the guy. But when I did the show, I didn't know him that well yet, and I was intimidated by him. He was.
Me too, man.
Yeah, he's
like I was.
He's thick, man. He's tight. His shit is tight.
That's what we were just talking about.
I was kind of stumbling over myself because between being such a huge fan and like him being so mysterious.
Yeah, he's got mystique, brother, man. He's
super...
more than any guy in the business. When he agreed to do my show, I was tripping. I'm going, wow, I got fucking Maynard doing my show, man. And I got the weirdest love from that. It was from weird people that you would say, wow, you know. But,
okay, what color are we going with for you? We can make this.
Oh, you got to go with the red rocker.
The red. I'm so dumb.
Fuck.
I'm so damn.
I thought the guy did a
great start.
What kind of show? Cheers, first of all.
Yeah, for sure, man. Cheers to you. And okay, so here we go. We're gonna just start it like this. Ladies and gentlemen, Sammy Hagar. Yeah,
that was
dude.
profound.
It really.
I hope I live up to that that profanity.
Okay, so this is my co-host Scott Randolph.
How you doing, Scott?
Good. How you doing?
And now, for the first time ever, we have both Vinny and Paul. This is crazy.
Oh, Vinny and Paul. I like that.
There's so far been two eras of the Wild Ride podcast. There was the Paul Brisky era, and then Paul left and was replaced by Vinny.
Vinny Paul, I like that. Vinny Paul is a dear friend. Vinny Paul was the coolest guy.
Who is he?
The drummer in
Pantera.
Pantera.
Ah.
Yeah. I'm just going to say Spatula, but Weir.
We got a little bit of a Van Halen effect over here. And it's the triumphant return of Paul Brisky.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be back.
Oh,
Thank
right
you.
on.
Yeah, the gorgeous Paul Brisky.
So I'm David Lee Roth in this situation.
Easy now.
He's Sammy
Wait a minute.
Hagar.
Easy now. I knew it, first of all. I'm going, let's see, okay, what's going to be the Roth connection here? I'll try to skip around any of that.
Hey, man, we're not out to get you, Sammy.
No,
You
you wouldn't be. I wouldn't be here if I thought you were.
Yeah. So now, where do we begin, man? What a fascinating. I mean, I knew you were fascinating, but as I did some research preparing for this, I just blown away by how rich and how juicy the history is, you know?
Oh, that's what I thought you were saying. How rich? Hold on. I'm not denying it. What the fuck? It's the last thing people want to hear about is how rich you are. But it's
Yeah.
But no, I really, at my age, I've done so much stuff because I'm old, and it's like, and I've stayed healthy, and I've been able to sing. I can still sing as good as I ever sang, and I can still sing the same songs. I tune down a little bit, no problem. I can sing this, I don't have to cheat. But long story short, when you've been around a long time, if you really care and like to do shit, then you will have done a lot of shit, and longevity is where it's at, man. Without longevity. These guys that died young, man, they made, one album, 2 albums. I just feel terrible about that.
Right. How old are you?
75.
Unbelievable.
I know.
My dad
It is unbelievable.
My dad just turned 80, and I really think that he has just dealt Father Time a bitch slap to the face. I mean, like he's so healthy, but I think that my dad doesn't have anything on you. I think
I'm not 80 yet, but everybody says, well, when you turn 70, I used to talk to Willie Nelson. These guys, very few guys older than me, and they're still in the business. And I would ask them, I'd say, fuck, man, how you doing, Willie? You're 70, you're fucking out there doing it. He's going, yeah, when turn 70 is a little tougher, and all this shit. And I'm thinking, I turned 70, didn't make any difference to me. So I'm looking at 80 now, thinking, well, maybe that's the one where I'm going to go down,
Right.
So
what do you do to stay so healthy?
Cabo Wabo.
No, yeah, I drink. I do every fucking thing. I'll tell you, man. I've never had to.
Whoa. Huh. What happened there?
Wow, that's a first.
Yeah, well, there you go.
We're still recording.
Yeah, everything's still going.
All right.
I'm pushing on.
For the people just listening, our lights went out. And
so this is live?
We're no.
Oh, you scared me there.
It's not live, but there are people who have just the audio, and then some people have both the video and the audio.
Do we need to turn?
Oh, there
we go. We're back
good.
on.
Nothing shut off, right?
No,
everything's still recording, but the master on wasn't working, but I just did individually all the lights on.
There you
I don't know.
More information.
So basically, it was what I was about to say is that I don't know why I'm not an addiction kind of guy. I don't get addicted to shit. I'm not addicted to fucking golf. I'm addicted to sex and food, and a good time and the beach, and
right.
But not drugs and stuff. It's like I take everything. I mean, I've taken anything and everything. I fucking, I drink every night. I don't drink in the daytime. I don't wake up with the shakes and shit. I don't know. Well, some of my friends can't do that. So I don't know. I don't know if that's what's keeping me young, but I mean, I at least never had to go get fixed.
Right.
And I walk on the beach every day. I used to be a running fanatic, a bicycling fanatic. That was a little fanatical.
You ever surf?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm a hodad. I love the beach. I'm a complete beach nut, but I don't get up on that board. I get at my age now. If I got sitting on, the wave would be gone by the time I got up off that fucking board.
Right.
My knees are kind of shot. That's the only thing I fucked up jumping around on stage.
Okay. Do you did you ever were you friends with Val Kilmer?
No.
Because like I watch footage of you, I look at you, and there's just this little resemblance.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never met Val. No.
I was watching the I Can't Drive 55 music video, and when you grab the cop and you get in his face, I was like, who's he remind me of there? And it was Val Kilmer.
Oh, what a chill. That's in 1984. That was before Val was rocking the video stuff.
Right.
I mean the movie stuff, right? I mean.
Right. It's about when Val came on the scene, I think.
Well, maybe he was copying me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Val.
Right. Now going back to that early, your first band that wasn't a cover band was Montrose.
Yeah,
that's right.
72, 73.
And you got kicked out of Montrose.
I get kicked out of every fucking band I'm in. That's why I become a solo artist. It's so funny. I guess my free spirit type attitude, and taking things seriously, but not, to a degree of some other people, that these band leader guys, that they just want to control you, but they don't really. It's like an ego trip. It's not real. Like when I want to control somebody, like, okay, I don't want you getting all fucked up before the show. We got work to do. You know what I mean? That's the kind of control I use. Other than that, do whatever the fuck you want, But, Ronnie, I just rubbed him wrong, I guess, and he fired me. Yeah, it's really weird.
And
he fired himself eventually,
Right. So you get kicked out of Montrose, and that's when you first become a solo artist.
Yeah.
Even though it was never your intention to be a solo artist.
No, not at that time. I was trying to put a band together, that was like...
And as a solo artist, you just blew away Montrose. What did the guys from Montrose go on to do after you left?
Well, the drummer, Denny Carmassa, he went on to play on all the Whitesnake big records. He became like a studio guy, and then he joined Hart, the second generation of Hart, with all those top 40 hits when the girls were all glamorous and shit. The video hits. So he was in that band for a long time. So he did good. Bill Church, the bass player, didn't do much. He came with me. And Ronnie, he just kept firing people, kept changing, becoming an instrumental artist, get a new singer, do this, do that. He was a hard guy to get along with. I mean, he shot himself in the head. God bless him. You know what I'm saying? That's all you got to say about a guy eventually that does that. So he was miserable, but he'd never let you get close to him. He was one of them guys. as soon as you got close to him, he'd get all fucking weird. You know, if you had a conversation, you know.
What, talk about anything deep?
Yeah, when in those days we had a room together, you know. So Ronnie and I would room, and a bass player and drummer, and Ronnie, you know, we'd sit up late at night, you know, maybe have a couple of drinks and start talking soulful shit. Man, then all of a sudden the next day he'd be like all fucking weird and shit. It's like, whoa, man, I didn't tell you shit, man. You know, whatever, you know. I mean, he was like really weird. Like,
Wow.
what the fuck? You didn't tell me nothing. You know, did your dad beat you or something? You know what I mean?
Wouldn't you? So you'd room with Ronnie, but then you'd switch.
Yeah,
like you guys would get kind of tired of each other.
But we always ended up. Ronnie and I always ended up because nobody wanted his room with the bass player, Bill Church. He was an asshole.
So it was like musical chairs to avoid the bass player.
Yeah, he was bitter. He was always complaining. Everything was, oh, fuck this, fuck that, you know. And I was the happiest guy in the world. Broke on my ass, you know, but man, you know, I was getting laid every night, and I was jumping on stage every night, and you know, my phone was shut off at home, but it's all right. You know, I'd rather be on the road. I was loving it.
That's great. So you're just start killing it with your solo band.
No, I'm a journeyman, man. I never had that overnight success thing, and my work ethic, I think, is what broke me because, you know, I wanted it bad. So I was in shape. I was running every day. I said, when I get on stage, I can sing louder, run faster, and jump higher, and fucking play faster than all you motherfuckers. That was my MO, you know. I wanted to be, you know, the baddest fucking guy in rock, you know. So I worked. I went out and I played 7 nights a week. I'd open for anybody, anytime we played. Somebody get thrown off tours, just like getting kicked out of bands all the time. Opening for people, and they'd say, "Get this guy out of here, man! I gotta have me going out there doing all that before we go on."
You can't be too much of a journeyman though if you've got platinum selling albums in 5 consecutive decades, right?
Yeah, but it took a while. My first platinum album, first gold album, didn't come till about 1982, and I started in '73. So
Right,
you know, I
okay.
ran a 10-year run there. You know, I was selling records, I was selling tickets.
What was the first one?
The first one that went gold was actually the Red album, the Sammy Hagar album, but
There
that
you
was
go.
from 1977, but it didn't go gold till 1981,
Gotcha.
82. And then 82, Standing Hampton was with my first hit, I'll Fall in Love Again stuff. I got signed to Geffen Records, and that sold, went gold quick, and I had a hit record, and they pushed me. You know, they were into it. The other record company I was on, Capitol, they just said, he's going to go out and work and sell records. We didn't have to put any money in behind him, you know what I mean? So they never put money behind the records. So my first gold album was Standing Hampton, and then it went platinum, 3-lock box, platinum and gold, you know, BOA 50. I Can't Drive 55. Then I broke as an artist and started selling shitload of records and getting my dream come true. You know,
Right.
How many is gold?
500,000.
500,000?
Yeah, you can't sell 500,000 records today. Man.
Didn't they
You just have a
change
number
the
one album
streams?
with 30,000 records because people don't buy the records anymore.
Right.
You know?
And then what's a million?
It's platinum.
Platinum.
Double platinum's 10 million?
2.
2. Well,
Yeah. Triple. 10 is a diamond.
diamond.
Yeah, I don't have a diamond record. I've got plenty of 7 and 8 millions with Van Halen and
Yeah.
but no, no 10s. Those 10s those are for the pop guys that have that big number one single and have 3 number one singles. Like, yeah, I think Journey's got a diamond record for sure. Their greatest hits records probably.
Okay.
Bands like that.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
so you break and you know you're selling a ton of records and then all of a sudden you find out David Lee Roth left Van Halen, and you said to your wife, you were married at that time?
Yeah, this is my
Okay.
first wife. This is my second wife.
You said to your wife, they're gonna call me.
Well, it was weird because I was sitting at dinner and I was working with Ted Templeman. I had done the VOA I Can't Drive 55 record. Ted had produced all the Van Halen records and the Roth solo stuff. So Ted and I were friends. He'd produced Montrose, Ted Templeman. So we had this
Wow.
long relationship. So he'd call me up. So I was saying, I just came home from a tour and stuff. And I was going, well, I'm not gonna make a record right away. And Ted's going, no, we should get back in the studio. I want to see what you start writing. You know, he was pushing me. So he'd call me. And so I'm at dinner and he calls and I say, he's saying, wow, you ain't gonna believe this. You know, Roth quit Van Halen. I said, what? Really? Wow, what
Did
a
he
trip.
quit?
You know? Yeah, well, we don't know. We don't know. Look, they said that I quit too, but I didn't. Right?
Right.
I got fired. But
So So did him?
No, so I turned to my wife, and as soon as I hung up, I said, "Wow, Dave, go back to eating." Dave, quit the band. I said, "Wow." Then I just went, "Fuck, they're gonna call me." My brain, I'm a real good calculator. I calculate things really fast, put things together. It's a gift, and I just went, Ronnie James Dio, Ozzy Osbourne, Sammy Hagar. They're gonna call me.
Yeah.
It was kind of pretty obvious that it's like, I don't know. I was already, the thought of somebody replacing Dave was going to be very strange, but I knew musically in my head, Ted Templeman knew too. That was like, no, you and Eddie get together, it's going to be fucking the shit, man. And it was.
And it. In the final analysis, did it turn out that they had considered other people?
Yeah, later on, after I got thrown out of the band, then I started hearing all these fucking rumors that they was going to be Patty Smythe, and that's because Eddie was fucking having a relationship with her. It's like, hey, we joined my band. And there, I don't know, I guess a couple other people stood up and said, oh, Daryl Hall said,
wow.
Eddie was really, at that time, he was pretty wasted a lot of times, and we all were, but Eddie, we know now that Eddie had a lot of drugs and drinking problems, so he would get fucked up and tell people, hey man, join my band, tell a bartender, so yeah, people came out of the woodwork. But the truth of the matter is that originally Ted Templeman, when he signed him, he said, you should get Sammy Hagar, because I got thrown out of Montrose. I was solo, wasn't doing very good, and he said, you should get Sammy Hagar in this fucking band. And Eddie was saying, yeah, you think you'd do it? And they were all thinking about it. And, then they made a record and exploded, so they never thought about it again, I guess. But I heard that from the horse's mouth from all of them. I said, yeah, man, Templeman was pushing for you to be in the band. But that would have been fucked up. It was much better the way I came in. We were all grown up. I was already selling millions. They were selling millions. We were selling out arenas. They were selling out arenas. Get together, bam. It became, one of the biggest bands in the world. All #1 albums we had. I mean, that's a run, brother. Let me tell you something. That's a fucking run we had.
For sure.
10 years,
And is it true that in the David Lee Roth era, from the David Lee Roth era, Van Halen sold 46 million albums, and in the Sammy Hagar era, they sold 46 million. Is it really?
It's about equal now. That's funny that you said, because when you said 46, I said no, that's what we sold. But it's like the thing we had was these #1 albums. We came at a point where we got so much more attention. The music was. More commercial, not intentionally. I mean, it's some music. Eddie was fucking writing on keyboards. He loved to play keyboards, and I'd hear this shit, and I go, "Fuck, that's awesome." When It's Love and Love Walks In and stuff like that. And so Eddie go, "You like that?" I'm going, "Yeah," because I guess Roth didn't like keyboards. So we, really kind of spread out and started selling more records instantly. The reason their old catalog though, they had that fucking Jump. That was the biggest song Van Halen ever had, And it's like,
David Lee Roth didn't like keyboards, huh?
Exactly. There you go. But when people meet me and say, "Oh, you're the singer in Van Halen," oh, somebody don't know shit. This is the first thing they think I sing fucking Jump. I'm going, damn, that thing haunts me. You know what I mean? Because that was a big record. So that really allowed them. That song gets airplay still today, and still allows their old catalog to sell to a younger generation, to where mine is still selling too. But a younger generation will come along next on mine, because it was 2 different decades,
Right.
And that's the way the music business is. It comes back around. You could talk to Tom and I were talking about that last night.
Tommy
How
Lee.
the crew went down into the toilet. A generation when the grunge came out, the crew kind of went to pieces, and Van Halen took a little dip, and then all of a sudden, now the crew's bigger than they ever been, because it's the second
crazy.
time around. They have those girls, those hits, and then a younger generation picks up on them. So that's what's happening right now with the Van Hagar catalog. We're having this big resurgence, and they remastered the whole catalog, and they're doing all these things. I don't care about all that, because to me, I'm not even in the music business. It's been my hobby from day one, and but now it's like, I don't even worry about it. I love it. I just go play when I want to play. It's not like a business to me.
Right.
But Warner's is all behind the Van Hagar calendar. They see the trend. They're going, uh-oh, people are younger generation, streaming and all these things. So
It's like Matthew McConaughey in that movie. We get older, they just stay the same age because new people are discovering things all the time. And one thing people are discovering these days is liquid death. It is a canned water and iced tea company that's saving the world because they're infinitely recyclable. Aluminum cans are so much better for the environment than plastic. Plus, their new Liquid Death iced tea is so much healthier than those other iced teas out there. And if you order Liquid Death iced tea on Amazon, you get free shipping, plus from the local retailers, some of them around you. Now, if you're a listener of the Wild Ride podcast, you get an extra special deal because you get 20% off your first apparel purchase if you go to liquiddeath.com/Stevo. That's liquiddeath.com/Stevo, and hurry up and jump on that deal. Now let's get back to it.
You think about it, he's been in Eddie's shadow his whole life, and but he had to be the boss because he's his older brother, so he was always the boss. So they had a trippy relationship. You know, they'd get into it, they'd be throwing blows. I wrote about all this stuff in my book, and Mike and I would go, hey, you guys break it up. Next thing I'm rolling around with Alex on the ground, and Mike's like, hey, don't come between us, man. We're fucking brothers. Whoa, well, go ahead. And we'd leave, and they'd fucking the next day we'd come back to the studio, trash cans turned upside down, windows knocked out and shit. They'd go, man, you know. But they didn't want you to come between them.
Yeah, that is crazy, man.
That blood is thicker than mud is some true shit, man.
When you were on tour in the heyday of Van Hagar, were you singing David Lee Roth catalog on stage?
Not in the first tour. First tour we did You Really Got Me, and we did I Can't Drive 55, and no, we did You Really Got Me and One Way to Rock. We didn't even do I Can't Drive 55, and we just played the whole the first 5150 record, and then for an encore we would play Jump, but I would pull somebody out of the audience to sing it.
Wow.
I was an asshole. I mean, honestly, complete. You know, guilty as charged, right? Fucking, it's like I didn't want to sing the songs because I thought Jump was a silly song. I didn't like the lyric, and I had a hard time sitting up there going, can't you see me standing here? I got my back against the record machine. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I had a hard time with it. All right, I came from Montrose. All right, I'm talking about rock candy, baby, hard, sweet, and sticky. You know, so I just didn't like Roth's lyrics on that song. But some of the stuff was really good. I mean, you know, Unchained and fucking Ain't Talking About Love, and you know, even Running with the Devils.
Running with the Devil.
Yeah, that's that's good shit, man. I'm not down on that stuff at all. And later on, I started getting a little more user friendly. But then we had more albums, so we didn't need it. So,
Right. Okay.
You know, I mean, Eddie was the one that didn't want to play the catalog. Eddie was the one that wanted to keep the name Van Halen because Warner Brothers said, "Why don't you call it Van Hagar?" And I'm going, it's kind of an ego trip for me. I felt a little embarrassed, but Eddie was. No, man, fucking Sammy's joining the band's Van Halen now. You know, this is Van Halen, this is Van, you know. So,
Right.
And he wasn't a real assertive guy, but when he did, you know, you'd say, amen. You know, the man knows, the man's a genius.
Right. Yeah,
Let him do his thing.
I think Eddie was right on that one. Keep it Van Halen.
Fuck yeah.
What kind of stuff was on a Van Halen Rider for your shows?
Well, that brown M&M thing went out the window because I dig brown M&Ms. So let's start right there.
Yeah.
You know, we had a bottle of tequila always. You know, I'm always been a tequila guy, and but I never drank that much. I still don't drink that much. Oh well, we all had separate dressing rooms to start with, so I'm just thinking about my dressing room. Eddie's room was it changed every year. Honestly, I fucking don't remember. We carried a chef, so they cooked for us, and a lot of times we weren't hungry after a show. You know.
Help us understand.
Well, you know, a lot of things going on. We barely make it through the shower before the action happened, man. But no, we partied hard, man. We really did. We partied hard. Ain't no question about it. I don't know if you read my book. I'm not trying to push my book.
Right, but I mean, let's be clear. The book read #1 New York Times bestseller, man.
That's a big deal.
That is a really big deal. I'm a New York Times bestseller, but not #1.
You know, when it went #1, I cried my fucking eyes out. For some reason, the timing of that book was really right. And Howard Stern read, because he's a big Van Halen nut, read it on the air, and it just went pow.
Wow.
It sold the first week like 37,000 copies. They were so backlogged. They printed 7,500 books, and they had orders for 37,000. And when my publishers called me, I just went, wow. I fucking cried. It's such a... now that's... I've had so many dreams that I didn't dream come true. You know what I mean? Like, well, I didn't dream that. You know,
Right.
I dreamt to be a rock star. Okay, but you know, the #1 book and having a tequila company that becomes the #2 premium tequila in the world. Wonderful people. You know, crazy enough to buy it for the kind of money it was, and they weren't crazy. I mean, now I know the business. They were smart. They were saying, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Man, we'll take this fucker. You know, double his sales in 5 minutes.
Genius of you to only sell 80% of it, though.
Well, that was not genius. See, everyone thinks I'm so smart. I am not so smart, Steve-O. I was thinking, oh, yeah, they'll make it worldwide. They'll double the thing, and then I'll sell the 20% for what I got for the 80%, and it didn't work that way. It was...
what if you hung on to it, though? What if you still had that 20% today?
Oh, yeah, that'd be a whole different story.
See, that would have been genius.
Yeah. But I had to sell it within 7 years.
Oh,
they had a deal.
damn it.
Wow.
See, they're a public traded company, and you can't have partners like that. You got to have, you know, so they made a special deal with me. But it's not like they fucked me, just that I wasn't smart enough to know that when they took it over, they dumped a bunch of money into it. So the profit margin when I owned it, I had and put no money in. I had 4 sales guys. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. It was just selling like crazy, you know. Couldn't keep it on the shelf. So I was making all this money every year. I was making like $7-8 million profit in my pocket a year for those last 3 years. It averaged out to $6.7 million per year. So that's what they went for 3 years. What was my average net? And I went, fuck. So they offered me 10 times net, which was $67 million. And I'm going, fuck, man, that's, you know, I was flipping out. And then I thought, fuck, I love this brand. I'm having a blast. I'm making all this money. It's growing, man. Well, fuck you. I don't want to sell it. You know, man, what would it take? Blah, blah, blah. That's how it got jacked way up. But the point is, the 20%, then all of a sudden they start dumping money into it. They charged 13% management fee. They had all these things.
Yeah.
And so the profit margin went down. So my 10 times, well, they offered me, I ended up paying 15 times earnings on the years after I sold it. It wasn't earning nearly as much money.
Oh, so
You
they
see what I'm
weren't
saying?
talking about 10 times what you had made off of
That's
it.
right. They were talking about what they were making because they had 37 sales guys and
Right.
and trucks and fucking, you
Sure.
know. Yeah.
And it takes money to make money.
Yeah. But they, you know, they came out good in the end. After they got rid of me, they... No, trust me, I did not get fucked. But I fucked myself because I actually got 97 million instead of 100.
Ah, darn it.
I'm telling you, that 3 million I could have given to you, Steve-O.
Speaking of
You would have
giving
killed
money,
yourself with that money, though. You wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
depending on the year. You do give away a lot of money.
I do.
That's it's incredible. You got a whole, I mean, can we call it a restaurant chain? That it's like Paul Newman. All of the money goes to charity.
Yeah, my restaurants in the called the Sammy's Beach Bar and Grills, that are built around my Beach Bar rum brand, are in airports. There's one in Honolulu, Maui, Cleveland, and Las Vegas, and there's a couple more going to be opened up pretty soon. And I give all that money that I make on those restaurants to that community.
That local.
Yeah, because I'm big on philanthropy, but not giving money some fucking way off place to some big corporation that just sticks it in a bank account. I'm grassroots, man. I go through the hospital in Maui, and we find the children that are in the most serious condition that their parents have run out of insurance or never had insurance, and I pay for the transportation to get them back and forth to the hospital. We pay for their medicine, things like right straight to one family, and I have to do it through a hospital because most of these people are on assistance from government assistance, and if you give them money, they'll take you off. And if they buy them a car, well, they can't have a car. They're on, we're not going to, it's really tricky. So you go through the hospital with a 501c thing, and it's complicated what I do, but I think it's the way to do it. You just do it in your fucking backyard. You need your fence painted. Find a guy in your neighborhood that paints fences and get him to do it. Don't hire some company from out of town. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, I think that's where, giving starts is in your backyard and in your family. Helping others is close around you. It doesn't get weeded out there. It doesn't get filtered down. It doesn't get diluted. By the time it gets to Africa, some kid, you give $100,000 and some kid gets to a little sandwich.
Brown M&M.
Yeah, it's a brown M&M to do out. It's a tough. I've always said it's harder to give away money and feel good about it than it is. I can make money a lot easier than I can give it away. It's like, you can give it away if you want, but I mean to have it do some good. So I give my restaurant money. Not all with Cobble Wobble. I don't give that money away, but I still do a lot of charity stuff.
Right.
Are you in
food banks and stuff is big.
When
big
I tour
thing.
for 13 years, and I've given $2,500 minimum to every city I've played for the last 13 years.
Wow.
Man, I love that.
Sometimes I give 10. If I make a whole bunch, if it's a big city like St. Louis where I sell 20,000 tickets, so I make a shitload, I give 10. It really, it's so easy. You go down to a food bank sometime and see how they work, and it's awesome. Mm-hmm. Most volunteer. They get the food almost for free. $1 will make 3 meals. So families. You see these families. I'll stop going off on it, but you get me all wired up, man. See, I start getting goosebumps and shit. My heart is there. It's just I was poor. You know what I mean? When you've been poor, you understand what poor people have to deal with and what you have to go through, and to just put food on the table. So food banks. The brilliance of that is that when I went about 10 years ago, and there was a family in line, I was handing out food. Helping them with my kids. I make them do it too. I make them do it. Yes, yes, you heard that. Anyway, I was handing out food, and I see these families, like dressed nice, not dressed up, but I mean, they're clean. They weren't homeless people. They weren't, and they a wife and maybe a couple kids, and they're in line. And I started talking to the guy says, "Hey, I'm a gardener. My wife cleans houses, and my truck needs tires or something. We come to the food bank probably a couple times a month, and it helps us be able to make ends meet." And I thought, now, fuck yeah. This is not just, taking people that, saying, get a job, motherfucker. No,
Right.
These people have jobs, and they're still in food banks. So that's what really put the hook in me. I thought, now that's easy peasy stuff, man. You give them $100 and, it's all good. So.
I love it. And apologies, but I'm so fascinated with the Van Halen stuff.
Oh, no, go ahead. No
okay.
apology. That was a peak of my fucking life. Van Halen was one of the biggest bands in the world. I had more fun in that band. I made more money from music in that band than anything I'd ever done in my life. And it ain't the same without Eddie, and it ain't the same without Van Halen. I'd love to be in Van Halen right now. I wish we were still together, and it'd make me want to go out and do it, but,
When you and David Lee Roth toured together, and as I understood
Sam and
it,
Dave tour.
the Sammy Hagar tour, and as I understood it, every night you would flip a coin to see who was going to open and who was going to close.
No, we just did that the first night to see who opened the first show. Then after that, we flip-flopped.
Flip-flop. Got it. Okay, so and it was the first show was the one in Los Angeles?
No, the first show was in Cleveland, Ohio, and Dave won. He got to close.
Okay, but then in L.A., was that on a flip?
Yeah, and see, in L.A., it was my turn, so Dave insisted that we do 2 nights in L.A., so we did. We could sell out anywhere. It was fine,
Right.
But, because he had to have, he was trying to fight for, I need that town. And I'm going, this ain't a negotiation, motherfucker. You shouldn't be opening any, you shouldn't be closing the show anyway, to be honest with you. At that time, he didn't have a solo career, really.
Right.
I mean, he did, but he wasn't like selling. I was selling out arenas. I was selling out amphitheaters as Sammy Hagar, with the Wabos. And he, I had a solo career. So let me just say this. Ask Mick Jagger. Ask Robert Plant. You can be the biggest band in the world, and you can't necessarily have a solo career. Right. But I had a solo career. So when I joined the big band, I went back to my solo career. I'm good. I still sell a lot of tickets,
Right.
Dave, he had that little, sort of a big album, one kind of a big album, but he didn't have a solo career. He was playing small places, and so when he came in with me, he was making like $25,000 a night. I was making $150 a night, and they said, "Oh, you guys going to make the same money? Dave gets to make $150." I said, "He ain't fucking made $150 in his life except for Van Halen." So, but I said, I got to do this.
There's some things you just gotta do. Like for me, it's take care of my health. And that's why I wear a Whoop band, which is the most sophisticated fitness tracking device known to man. It now checks your oxygen levels in your blood, your stress levels. I mean, it always gives you the most insight into your sleep, your recovery, how many calories you're burning, what activities you're doing. I'm telling you, it really helps keeping track of your fitness more than I can even say. And all the coolest people are using it. Man, how many people have we talked to on this podcast about it? And if you want to try it, then you go to whoop.com. That's WHOOP.com. And use the promo code STEVO, and you're going to get 10% off your order. And that's getting the new Whoop 4.0 band with the waterproof charger, and you get 10% off your membership. So one more time, go to whoop.com, use the promo code STEVO, 10% off your order. Now let's get back to it.
I got to do this. So I did. I bent over backwards, did everything, and he still always tried to fuck with the rules.
Did you
He's not a fun guy. He doesn't play well with others. I'm not sure what his problem is. But.
Did you do the 2 nights in LA?
Yeah.
And did you? So you each got to close one night.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then he just always is about how can I, make this guy look bad, or not just me in life. I mean, how can I make myself? He's a chest beating motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
And God bless him, because like I said, that early stuff was freaking great.
Sure.
I personally, I've tried to say, he'd be a fun guy to know, but he ain't like that. He ain't like his persona. Right. When you get around him, he ain't that guy, man. He's some other cat.
When you describe what he does on stage as vaudeville, do you like with the acrobatics and the jumping and the dancing, like?
Well, he's a showman. Hey, listen, I'm a showman too, but that's his gig. He doesn't care about singing. If he did, he'd take care of his voice, or he'd take voice lessons, he'd warm up, he'd do something, because the guy sings so bad last time he was doing shows, it was embarrassing to me when people say, "Oh, you were in Van Halen." I'm going, no. I was starting to deny it, just in case they thought I was him. So
now I see what you mean.
Yeah, but he's a showman. He just, everything show. And he doesn't care about his voice, which drives me nuts, man. I care more about my voice than I do my dick.
Wow.
Like, shit.
Wow.
If my dick didn't work a couple times, I'd be okay with it, but I'd be bummed out. But if my voice fucks up on stage, I'm fucking bummed, man.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I'm not sure if that's a fact, but as a metaphor, you know what I'm saying.
When you're on the Sam and Dave tour, you each have your own bands?
Yeah.
Is that how it worked?
Yeah. He had a Van Halen tribute band. He just said, this is Van Halen. The guitar player did Eddie's solo, the drummer did and the bass player even played Mikey's bass solo. And he acted like it was a Van Halen show. And it was really the wrong thing. He got ripped apart by the press for it because, he should have went out and presented himself as David Lee Roth with, his Van Halen stuff and his solo stuff. He didn't play one fucking solo thing. He had some good solo songs,
Yeah. Man, you said that if you go to play a Van Halen song on some show, that you're getting Alex calling up trying to sue you, saying you can't do that.
Well, on TV, he won't license the songs because we co-wrote everything and we owned our publishing as a team. Even though Eddie and I wrote everything, Mike and Alex were 1/4, and our publishing company and Yesup Recording was owned by all of us equally. So Ed and Al, when I left the band, I could sing anything I want in the street and in concert, but if a TV show said we're going to film you, you want to be on the Grammys this year, we want you to sing right now, or why can't this be loved? They'd boo-hoo it. They'd say, no, we're not going to license. But I said, that's it. Fuck this shit. It's been 100 years, Alex, and I tried to call him, wouldn't pick up the phone. And I'm going to tell this story now. This is the first time this has been heard. There's a documentary on the origins of rock, and it's done by the MTV people, and anyway, and it's going to be like one of those Netflix deals, right? And I'm on the first series of it, so they want to. It's about my rock and roll career.
You got your own episode? Is it like?
It's coming out probably in June or July. Maybe I don't know when it's done, but I know my episode's done. And Alex wouldn't okay any of the Van Halen stuff. He said, I don't like the way Sammy's talking about us, and he wanted it taken out, the likeness, and wouldn't let the song Right Now or Why Can't This Be Love, our two biggest hits, he wouldn't let him license it. This is my biography, this is my life story, and they backed off. But it's just so fucking childish. I mean, get out of here. I wrote the song. It's like, you know, if I was just the singer, then that they wrote the song and hired me as a hired gun. I wrote the fucking songs with Eddie, so it was really chicken shit. But, you know, I wish Alex was user-friendly. Do you realize what a great thing we could do with Michael Anthony? Still sings and plays his ass off. He's in my band, you know, the circle.
Yeah.
I can still sing and play my ass off. Alex can still play his ass off, you know? And we just need a guitar player, and we can go out and play the best set list. We play 50-50. I've already said it. I presented it to him. We'll play 50-50. We'll go to Vegas and do a residency. We'll do one big stadium show and give all the money away, all of it.
Yeah.
I'll take not one penny on the whole tour.
Try and
Let's
tell
do
that
this.
to Alex.
I did.
I know,
Oh,
but if the hang-up was the giving away the money, you know,
Yeah.
but you're saying
No,
keep
well,
it
I'd
or
give
give-
mine away.
Right, okay.
That's what I volunteer to do. I say, I'll just give mine to charity. Every fucking town we go to, I'll give it to the Children's Hospital. Every fucking town. Let's do this thing. Let's do 20
love
shows,
it.
do 10 shows, do 100 shows.
Right.
I don't care. But we got to do it for the fans. It's like those fans have just been fucking pissed on.
And he won't pick up your phone call?
No.
Man, I love that so much that you would want to give away all of your money to do
I don't
that.
want to give it all away, but I would to do it. I don't need the money, but I would do it.
And what the other thing I really love is that when you talk about doing a Eddie tribute, that you would have Eddie's son Wolfgang do that. If it was like a one-time deal, a couple shows and that's it. But there's just this respect that you have for Wolf that you wouldn't want to bog him down with an ongoing gig where he mimics his dad.
Oh, no. Honest to God, I wouldn't recommend that. If I was his father, I would say, no, you're doing great. He's doing great. I mean, this guy really stuck to his guns.
Yeah.
And he blows my mind. I had no idea he could sing like that. I've been around the kid for half his life, you know, and I never knew he sang. I knew he was always playing guitar and playing bass and playing drums. He's a great little musician. But the truth of the matter is he really found his niche. He's going for it. He's out working his ass off. And I wouldn't distract him from that to be his father. It'd be like his father's
Right.
shadow. That's terrible.
So
That
you say what
I feel like the devil.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ruin his kid's life here. No, so he's doing the right thing, but we could do a couple one-offs. Yeah.
How do you describe it? Do it big for the big time, one time?
One time for the big time, I guess. I don't know. I didn't invent that shit.
Yeah. One time for the big time.
Yeah. 2 times for the big time, maybe 4 times for the big time. The problem is if we did that one show, no matter how big this place, no matter what the ticket price, it would go bam, and the business world would come fucking down our throats, and our managers would be going, "Come on, guys, you know this is the big payday for us," you know. And it's like it's not a problem, but you know it would be so tempting to go out and work it and milk it and work it and milk it. I don't think Wolfie would do, and like I said, I wouldn't even recommend he do it. There's so many great guitar players out there, you know.
Right.
If you were to go on tour again, would you do buses or private jets?
Oh, I got my own jet. I've been flying private.
Bless your heart.
I can't sit in one of these buses, man. I get seasick in these.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude.
That was the greatest.
She's like, I'm sorry, what?
How dare you?
Now, like, and apologies again, but back to Van Halen. You got,
No apologies necessary.
you got David Lee Roth. He's in Van Halen from 78 to 85. Then you come in from 85 to 96.
Yeah.
Then you leave. How long before David Lee Roth comes back?
It was a long time. They're so dysfunctional. It's like Van Halen, Dave was a leader. When I joined the band, I became the leader. It was just gifted to me, you know. And it was like, well, I'd say, well, what time you guys want to rehearse tomorrow, you know, or whatever. And they'd be like, well, I don't know. What time you want to rehearse? I'd say, 2 o'clock. Okay. You know, it's like, then pretty soon it's like, don't bother asking. Hey, guys, see you tomorrow, too, you know.
Right.
It just became kind of like that. And so when I left the band, they just didn't have a leader. And Eddie and Alex they lead in their own way, but Eddie just leads musically. He just goes in the studio, you walk in, he's in there playing, he goes, what do you think of this? And
Right.
it just it happens, and Alex is right there with him, So it's kind of like
That's why
they couldn't made a function. Our manager died. He was our fearless, and my manager was the guy that came in, our fearless leader, and I was the band guy. And without that, they just couldn't put anything together. Look how long it took them to get an album out with Gary Cherone. Then that didn't work, so they threw that out the window and tried to get Dave back again. They tried to get Dave back 5 times, I think. It's like dysfunctional. It's like no one can agree on shit. I want it black. Okay, fuck it. Paint it black then. Well, no, I think I want it white now. Okay, paint it white. No, wait a minute here. Fuck, it's like being in the Middle East trying to haggle over a piece of fruit or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know if you've ever been like that, but they want to haggle. It's like, well, how much is that? $100. Okay, no, we'll give you a better deal than that. Oh, really? Well, how much? 90. Okay, 90. Well,
Yeah, remember in Morocco, it was just everything we wanted. It was like, how much you pay?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
If they want to haggle, they just, don't. There's no such thing as just saying, here's the way it goes. Let's just do it. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
I say, it's like such a waste of time. It's like being stuck in the fucking mud, man.
Yeah.
I like to move fast.
what was the album you did with Mickey Hart? Was that?
Oh, March into Mars. That was my first solo album.
How was that with Mickey Hart? Did you know him from Monterey or back in the day, or you just met him?
The Dead, because we're a Bay Area guy.
Yeah.
And Bob Weir's lived down the street from me for 100 years.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And when my home up there still Bob still lives there. And Jerry bought the house next to me.
Now, whenever somebody mentions the Grateful Dead, I get excited. I just was always such a fan of Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead. And you know what else I'm a fan of? Is getting excited. And when it's time to get excited, sometimes I like to have BlueChew tablets. Why? Because they've got the same active ingredient as both Viagra and Cialis, but they only cost a fraction of the price, and they are delicious. When I want to get down with Lux, it's time for BlueChew. And it's time for you to get an entire month's supply completely for free. All you got to pay is $5 for shipping. Now, how do you get this deal? You go to BlueChew.com and use the promo code STEVO. That's BlueChew.com and use the promo code STEVO. It's the deal of the century, so jump on it and let's get back to it.
And so we're all kind of friends. And Mickey and I hooked up in the weirdest fucking way. My wife was pregnant. I bought a house in Maui. I just got, as Van Halen was going through the worst time right before I got thrown out. And I said, I'm buying a house in Maui. I'm taking some time off. Motherfuckers go in the studio, do whatever you want, but I'm going to have my wife's baby over here in Maui. We're going to have I'm going to deliver the fucking baby, right?
Wow.
I was really into that. And so
you were going to deliver?
I was going to deliver it. But with some help. They have a Lamaze system where you do it in water, and it's all natural childbirth. So we were all into that for our first baby. Kama, her birthday was yesterday, by the way. So we're talking about Kama now. She's your fan, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Kama was like, happened to be breached, but we didn't know it at the time. So we're flying over there. We're on an airplane. We got a dog that we tranquilized and stuck him in a fucking bag, a little dog called Winchell. And we're sneaking him in there. And Bill Cosby is on that flight, and Mickey Hart's on that flight.
Did Bill give your dog the pill?
Fucking Bill, the dogs got out of the thing right when we were landing. It fucking woke up, zip, 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 fucking scratching the little dog. And the fucking Bill Cosby goes, oh, look at the cute little doggy. I go, oh, fuck. I look at my dogs walking down the aisle of the airplane, right? So they said, oh, you can't get off the plane. You're going to,
quarantine the dog?
The dog's got to go, blah, blah. We're going, what the fuck are we going to do? My wife's pregnant. She's crying. Mickey Hart's on the plane. His wife is a lawyer. And she goes, hold on here. Let me work on this for you. And so Mickey was going on vacation. We were moving into our house, and we spent the whole month over there together, and we started writing songs and doing all kinds of stuff way back then, and he became such a dear friend. But it was what we did is we put the dog back in a container. Someone who got off the plane went and bought a container. There was a fan on the plane, a lady that said, I'll go do this, and she went and got a container. We had to sit on the plane for like 3 fucking hours, put the dog on the container, ship the dog back. Kari's friend pick the dog up. So
Jeez.
we moved to Maui without the dog.
Yeah, Hawaii doesn't fuck around about bringing dogs
Oh,
there.
I know.
Yeah, COVID too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was like 27 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite decade to tour in? I would have to imagine it's the 80s,
Oh, yeah, 70s and 80s.
70s and 80s.
Montrose, we didn't make the money, but that was the era of, I mean, just think about the 70s. That's when glitter rock, I mean, you'd fucking dress like fucking women, big old fucking high heel shoes and nylon stockings and shit, on stage, makeup, fucking girls going crazy. Like, we walk out the back door, there's like 20 groupies. It's like, hey, come on, here's, go to the Holiday Inn, here we are. They'd be waiting there for you. It was anything goes, man. And it was just sex, drugs, and rock and roll to the bone. And it was an exciting time for rock and roll because, for me, I mean, I was starting to make it. And
Well, yeah, I mean, there's
very artistic freedom during that time. And 80s too, but 70s were really cool.
some people would argue that Montrose made the first heavy metal album.
Not the first, but we were early. Yeah, we influenced Van Halen and crew and, and all those bands that came after the L.A. Heavy rock scene that happened. That was pretty much, Montrose was the king of that. We invented it.
Who would you give credit to for the first metal album? It's got to be Sabbath, huh? Deep Purple?
Probably. Purple, I don't know. Metal wasn't metal back then. Like
Right.
now, it just was hard rock.
Sure.
Metal is crazy now. But I don't know. I was really into the Who. I was really into Zeppelin, of course.
You just
So I
put
don't know.
out an
I don't know
album.
who did the first one. I don't see. I wasn't as much into Sabbath. I was into Sabbath, but not as much as I was into Led Zeppelin and
Right.
and the Who and a band called Free.
Sure,
Yeah,
Free.
man, Free was.
I
just-
love Free.
I did too. See,
I was going to ask you if you
that
love
was
Free.
Montrose shit. See,
Because I heard you talking about how you we're pretty dead against like the whole FM thing, and that the problem with Capitol was that they just wanted you to write hits so that they wouldn't have to do any work to promote the band. The radio would do the job for you, and you were like, no, I want to be more edgy. I want to be kind of more hard rock. I want to be like a tough guy, like rock and roll. I don't want to be a pop star. I don't want to be on the radio.
No, I was embarrassed about
know?
that shit. They would hand me songs to they'd say, why don't you record this song? And I go, I would have fucking record that song. And I was a punk, kind of punkish a little bit, I had an attitude anyway. And that doesn't work with corporate guys. I know that now.
Right.
I could have had a hit earlier if I'd have, kissed a little ass.
Right, and that was what you said too, is that you wanted to be edgy and tough and a real like badass rock star, not a pop star, but you don't mind if if a tune like breaks through onto the radio, and that's how you described the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, that's Free was my favorite band because of All Right Now. It was such a
That was their
tune.
one that just snuck through.
Exactly. Every now and then somebody would have one that snuck through, and I said, I want one of those.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. I did not want, the typical Carpenter's hit,
Yeah, oh man, I love
that I had to. Taj Mahal once said, he said, don't ever record a song you don't want to sing for the rest of your life. Right?
Wow.
And I thought, that's fucking brilliant. Like,
you never know if it's going to blow up or
that's
not.
Right.
You
You
just
get a
like
hit and you said, oh,
Margaritaville.
Fuck, no. Yeah. Well, Jimmy don't care about that. I'm sure that's a fun song to sing. I sing that song once in a while myself. But there you go. There's a career song that snuck through. Every now and then I wanted, when you try to write that way, it's, your chances, you're rolling the dice are not as good as,
Man, how about the bassist from Free?
Andy Frazier.
That fucking Mr. Big, that tune.
The way he played, and he wrote those songs. Paul told me that Paul actually was trying to be him when he sang. And Andy Frazier had a solo record, and it was bass and drums and a electric piano and sometimes, right? And he sang, and it was soulful blues shit. It was badass. He sang more like Paul Rogers. He was cool, really cool singer. He sounded like he was in love. Like, I used to always say, if this motherfucker could sing about anything, it sounds like he really means it. You know what I mean? I like that.
Yeah.
Some people just have that thing. Like Michael McDonald, he opens his mouth and it
Yeah.
sounds like he's soulful passion, like pouring his heart out to you, man. Shit, I have to scream my ass off and hold my nuts and all that to sound convincing.
Then Bad Company came along after Free,
Yeah.
and they were like more mainstream.
Yeah, Bad Company was really a big influence on me too. Montrose, we were on the same bill with Bad Company's debut in London at it's the stadium, not Wembley Stadium. There's another stadium, I forget what it was. 90,000 people. The Who, Humble Pie, Lou Reed, Montrose, Bad Company, Maggie Bell.
Wow, you guys were
They make their debut, so they had.
you guys were above Bad Company.
Yeah, but Peter Grant, their manager, Led Zeppelin's manager, held them in traffic, and they made us go on. As soon as we went on, them motherfuckers came walking through the back door. It's true. It's a true story. I'm going, fuck, how did we get fucked on this? My heroes, I wanted to,
Wow.
I got to see
90,000
them.
people.
Yeah, it was a big Charlton festival. Charlton, big soccer stadium.
Was that the biggest you've ever done?
God, no.
Yeah, right up there. No, it's about 90, 180. I mean, you can't get much bigger than that. I've never been to South America. I keep getting offers to
Right.
go to South America, but it's like I want to go, but it's never the right time. It's like I'm always, oh fuck, I'm just not going to tour that month. We just got offered again for like. I forget when it was. I had to turn it down again. But, they play for 300,000. I don't see any reason to play for 300,000 fucking people. I'm going to tell you something right now. You walk out on stage, your fucking legs go weak. You just go, the energy just sucks it out of you. 100,000 people sucks the energy
What
out of
did Tommy tell you last night? Was their capacity in South America just recent?
Well, we didn't talk about it, but I know they just got back.
Yeah, man. That
Why,
was
what was it?
big. I mean, like, I
200,000 and
don't,
300,000 probably.
yeah.
Right? They have huge soccer stadiums because the sport's so big, and the fucking rock fans. I mean, I see pictures of it. I talk to Metallica and all these my buddies that go down there and play all the time, and I'm going, man, I don't even fucking want to walk out to that many people. I did feel like the fucking piss ant theory. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference? Is there a stark difference between going out and performing with 60,000 and 90,000, or is it all the same after a certain
it's
level?
all the same after about 20. It really is. 20. You start getting up in the 50s and 60s. I mean, I don't dislike it, but it fucks you up, man. You come off that stage as a shot, man. It's like at my age, I'm worried I'll walk out and fucking drop dead,
Yeah, I feel like you'd be like desensitized after that, like being that high
Yeah.
and like experiencing that level of energy that.
Yeah, night
going-
after night, too.
Yeah, going and eating a pizza at the cafe just really doesn't do it, or.
Yeah, Van Halen, when we did the Monsters of Rock tour, we only did one stadium tour in my reign. We'd do 4 nights in every city in the planet, 4 arenas, 18, 19,000 people each night. But that was our go-to. We had a really good manager before he died. I left there, and he was really smart financially. He'd say, you're going to play for 56,000 people, and you're not going to make as much money as you're going to make for those 20,000 people in that arena, because the production, you got to have bigger. It takes 3 days to set up. You're going to lose 2 or 3 days where you can't play because your production is being set up. And so when we did it, we had 56 trucks on the road. We had 3 stages, 3 sets of lights, 3 sets of sound on the Monsters of Rock tour. We didn't make as much money, and with
Right.
Metallica was the opening act back then. It was really great.
Wow.
That's became good friends. I got him on the bill, but we became really good friends. But on that tour, but point is, I got hurt on the first show. I fell down, broke my tailbone. Oof. So every night I couldn't stand up. I couldn't wipe my ass, man. So I had to have doctors every day giving me shots of cortisone right into my tailbone and my spine. I couldn't. Then I going back and forth to my doctor in L.A. And where I lived in Malibu, and Eddie and I were neighbors here. I had a great doctor, and he was helping me get through it. But I was getting on flights after shows, flying home privately, getting back, landing, jumping on, running on stage. I got ear infection. I got a sinus infection. I didn't sing good once, except the first night of the whole motherfucking tour. I was beat and dead, so I never really got to experience the energy of the stadium properly. And whenever I did a festival, with my own bands and stuff like that. I just don't like those 100,000, 80,000 festivals. I just don't feel like I'm connected. I'd rather play the Cabo Wabo, at my own place, and it's like it's so special to walk out and feel like you really are in a connecting in an event. I think Van Halen today, would be awesome on these big stadium shows and all that. If we were still around today, we're more mature. I wouldn't go out and try to work so fucking hard. I used to go out and try to, stage and be like, 170 feet across, man. I'd fucking sprint to the other side and be like, you know. So, because I was a nut, you know, I had no control on stage. I get out there, I'm a nervous performer. So when the bell rings for me, I just go nuts, you know. Not anymore, but I mean, it's the way, that was my style. I was so nervous I couldn't stand in one place.
You get so nervous you black out ever?
No, but I never passed out on stage anyway.
How did you break your
blacked out.
tailbone?
Yeah, right.
What's it?
How'd you break your tailbone? You fell like off the stage?
Well, we
fell,
had
or-
a brand new production
Uh-huh.
because we had 3 productions, and so everything got delayed. And so we were playing. The first night was 3 nights in a place called the place where Stevie Ray Vaughan died on a helicopter.
Alpine Valley.
Alpine Valley. We did 3 nights there to open the thing. The first night, hey, thank you. we had steel stairs that went up to this riser. You know, remember the old days where you had a big riser behind a drum riser, and everybody go up there and sing a couple songs. And I didn't know the stage. We didn't get to rehearse on it. And I was walking backwards in the fucking first song, Summer Nights. Opened the song with Summer Nights on my radio, and I was fucking hit the chorus and stepped back and went right on a steel corner, hit my tailbone. And the most fucked up thing, maybe you guys would think this is funny. You probably used to getting hurt. I'm not used to getting hurt. So I fucking going, oh shit! I was numb. Everything went numb in my body, in my mid body, and I was going, what the fuck, you know? And I reached back, and it was like a grapefruit, big ass grapefruit on my ass, and my tailbone, and I pulled my hand out, and it was full of blood, and I almost fainted because I went over to my crew guy, and I go, what the fuck's going on, man? And he looks at you, and goes, oh, man, whoa. Like, and I go, oh, fuck. And I couldn't see it. I had to go back out and finish the show. And that whole tour was fucked up because of that. Yes, that was our only stadium tour. In those days, there weren't a lot of stadium tours. You know?
I bet. The dynamics of making more money from 4 arena shows than 1 stadium show.
Oh, twice as much money with 4.
Twice as much money. So that's because even though you got to do the show 4 times, you're only setting up the show once.
Yeah, that's
right?
part of it. But I mean, I'm talking about making twice as much. So let's say if it was two arenas to 1 stadium, about the same amount of people. That 1 stadium show, the cost of the stadium, the whole setup of the size of the stage, you got to build it from scratch. There's no, you know, arenas they're more user friendly. You know,
Right.
Your stuff is mostly customized for that. If that's what you're doing, and you go out and you do a stadium tour, you got to start over, man. You got to build a whole brand new production. You know, that stuff costs $500,000 easily. So you can spend, if you're going to do 1 stadium show, it's going to cost you $250,000, $300,000. You know, and you do an arena show, it's going to cost you $100,000. So you know, you do the math, and also you can't sell those tickets way in the back of that stadium for the same price as a thing. I mean, I'm assuming that's part of it too.
Right.
But it was real expensive to do stadium. Our ego, we just wanted to do it. So no, we don't care. We're rich. You know, we'll make plenty of money. Don't get me wrong. Like we weren't losing money, but it was like more profitable to do arenas. And now it's more profitable to do amphitheaters than anything.
Amphitheaters?
Wow. Yeah.
What is that, like 4,000 to 6,000?
No, the seating is
15,000?
Yeah, they're anywhere from 15 to some are 20.
Like the Irvine Amphitheater?
Yeah, Irvine's a small one. It's like about 8. I just played that place last year.
You did the Sam and Dave show at the Universal Amphitheater.
That was small. See, the reason we did that because it was my turn to thing. Dave insisted upon doing two nights, so they put us in a smaller place. Normally, we would have played a bigger thing. Yeah, you know, Dave was a piece of work. never easy.
Really something, huh? When
If he was sitting here right now, we'd be going. The dude would be tripping. He'd be like, "Oh, is that right, Sam?" You know, that's what he he can call me Sam. I don't mind being called Sam. It's just his attitude. He won't look at you and shit. He'll talk to other people about you.
Yeah. It's
That's crazy.
He's a trip, man. I actually like the guy. He entertains the fuck out of me. Okay.
I mean, I think he's an entertaining guy. I think I
Have you had him on your show?
no.
Oh, well, Steve-O.
I mean, I'd be open to it. And I think I would tell him that while his flamboyance, his on stage antics and acrobatics and everything is just so fantastic, that between David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar, I gotta believe Sammy Hagar is a happier person.
He'd get up and walk.
Yes, save that for the end.
He's not coming on now.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
I believe, and like, I don't even think that's a dig. I think.
Oh no, he's not user friendly. That's whether he's happy or not. I have no idea. He does it.
You say that that you had 10 good years with Van Halen and 1 bad year.
Yeah, well, 2 bad years now because the reunion was bad. So I had 9 good years, 1 and 2 bad years because it was 11. It was 10 years altogether. Then the 1 year reunion, which was just hell. But I'm glad we did it. But at the same time, it was just.
That was the 80 dates. The
80
dates.
I tried to quit after 40. I said I can't do this anymore.
But you were going to get sued if you did that.
Yeah. So we split airplane. We were on one big plane and we ended up on 2 smaller planes.
Oh wow!
And what year was that? Was that 2004?
2004.
So 2004. And what made it such a disaster? Was it that the substance abuse had progressed?
Yeah. Substance abuse had progressed to a really bad level, and once again, I really hate to say anything bad about Mr. Eddie Van Halen, the greatest of the fucking greatest, after he's gone. But it was during that time was not a good time for him, and it's the worst he played in his whole life that I ever know of, and it was not good for him.
I don't think that that's a disparaging comment because it was 2007 when he acknowledged himself that he had to get in there and do something about it.
Yeah. And it was about time because he was going to die.
I heard some stories.
Yeah, like yourself. I'm glad you're still standing. I'm going to give us a lot of love for that. I'm serious.
Yeah.
If you don't want to live, fuck it. But if you want to live, you got to do the right thing if you want to live.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mikey and I shared a dressing room, and we would wait. We'd sit in our dressing room, and when it was time to go, and our tour manager would be there with us, our security guys, we'd just be sitting there like this. Okay, it's time to go on. It's like you would wait until you heard Eddie's guitar go. That's the first thing he did backstage. He'd plug in backstage, and he would see if it was going to squeal, make the big badass Ed tone. And until we heard that, we didn't bother going out near the back of the stage because every night it would be like that serious. Like, hey, we don't know if the guy's going to make it. I mean, it was like crazy. That's horrible. It breaks my heart. It really, and it broke my heart then too, but I got pissed. Pretty soon I started saying, fuck this shit, I'm here to, do a job, and it's making it difficult. So that was bad. We really hit a bump in the road as friends on that tour.
Do you have any fun Bob Weir, Jerry Garcia party stories?
Well, not Jerry. Jerry was a cool guy, but I never was around him that much. He died when they moved into the house next door to me. That's when he...
94?
Yeah.
He died in 95.
95?
He checked himself in. Yeah, Van Halen had the balance record out, and I remember we did... we were in New York when I heard it, and I went on tour. We were on David Letterman's show, and I heard that Jerry Garcia had passed.
Oh, wow.
And
they found him with a smile on his face, dead in the bed in his rehab.
Yeah, he went to rehab trying to get cleaned up, and he was so bad he didn't make it.
But he used, or he just had a heart attack?
I'm not sure, but
he was using at that time heavy. I think it was heroin. I probably shouldn't say that because I don't know for
sure.
sure.
I think it's commonly known that it was heroin.
Yeah, and he didn't make it through the rehab. He was trying to clean up. And he just moved into the house next door to me, and him and his wife, Deborah, she still lives there.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, oh, this is the greatest, man. I got, because Jerry and I, we only played together once at Sweetwater in downtown. But Bob and I used to run together all the time. He's so conscientious.
With the yoga and everything.
He's the greatest guy in the world, man. He's been a runner. We used to run him down up the mountain, and I'd bring him over to my house, a little studio there, and we'd listen to my new songs, and he'd be going, oh, Bob's a real funny guy. He's the sweetest human being on the planet. I can't say it. He don't have an evil bone in his body. He's not capable of being evil. He's just such a nice guy. He's there for you. Bob, I'm doing a charity event. Can you help a brother out? Well, let me check. Yeah, I can be there. You don't have to call him again except right before it because he forgets shit. But other than that, he will fucking be there. And he's just really a good guy. Yeah,
I wrote a letter, arguably the most impassioned letter to Bob Weir, proposing the idea of him coming on this Wild Ride podcast.
He would be fucking great. Has he done it?
I think that we got a response. I forget if it was from his daughter or publicist, but not now, maybe later.
Well, he's always working. You're gonna have to go to him.
Right.
But what
That's what
you're
we
doing
do.
is awesome. Exactly. Thank you.
That would be epic.
We bring it to.
I'll make this happen. I would definitely.
Oh
help
man,
you.
I love
when
that.
I walk in the room, I'll fucking send him a text. Say, Bob, you got to do this show.
I followed the Grateful Dead. It was now the Jackass director makes fun of me for being such a deadhead. When my first Dead show was 1990, and it was like 1994. I went to every single show on the East Coast Summer Tour. The last show was in Soldier Field in 95. I was there in 94.
So that was back then. They were still dead. They were the Dead.
They were the Grateful Dead.
Oh, the Grateful Dead.
That was before Jerry died.
Oh, 90s. Oh, yeah.
Jerry died in 95.
That was the shit. That band, man. They were like a wave of. I used to go to their shows too, and it was just it was like an amoeba thing. It just kind of swell up, and then it would get all high, and then it would just kind of fall apart, and nobody would care, and everybody got to go about their business. The music keep going, it would swell up again. It was so fucking unique what those guys did.
Did you see that series on Amazon?
I think
What a
so.
Long Strange Trip.
Oh, the train trip. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it was the greatest series, man. And I love that you know him, and
Bob, I consider a dear friend. I'll go there for Mickey's a dear friend too, but Mickey and I don't stay in touch like Bob and I. Bob comes to Cabo. Bob comes to my shows. Every time I did a residency last year and the year before, I did 14 shows in Vegas, and he came to 3 of them.
wow.
And he drove his bus. He was in Denver, did a show, and I said, "Hey, Bob, you should come down. This room's really cool." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And yeah, I'll be there. I said, "Okay, what, All of a sudden he shows up, parks his bus in the parking lot, right? And I'm going, "What, are you going to stay in your bed?" He said, Yeah, I got a gig tomorrow night." he drove in on a day off,
Legend.
comes on stage, plays.
He's doing it in the bus. He's not flying around, huh?
No. Some guys like the bus thing. I don't.
I'll tell
I'm in
you.
a hurry.
I get motion sickness.
Me too. I do. If
I'll
I
tell
sleep on
ya.
a bus, I wake up. Oh.
We will drive this son of a bitch to the Bay Area for Bob Weir on a dime.
Well, his daughter goes to school down here, so he'll he comes down once in a while. I'll make this happen. I'm telling you, Steve, we'll make it. But yeah, it'd be a nice drive anyway, going up there.
Yeah, man, going up the coast,
Yeah.
Big Sur, all
Well,
that.
coasting this thing. I'd rather be wheelman than be back here.
Man.
Oh man, I parked up
you know-
here to here. I had to close my eyes all the time because I was just getting nauseous.
Man, I hate to try to use you for bookings, but man, we got to get Guy Fieri too.
Oh no, yeah, I'm same thing. Guy's busier than anybody.
Yeah.
That motherfucker is crazy.
Yeah.
He's in Vegas, right?
Oh, he's got fucking 3 or 4 TV shows.
Oh.
He's got 77 restaurants. And he goes and opens them and works them. And he's got, he's my partner with Santo Tequila. So he's got a brand. He's got a tequila brand. And he goes around and does in-stores, which I won't do. My fans are too fucking crazy. It's like, if you say I'm going to be in an in-store, they'll be like, they'll say, well, you don't have to sign 100 bottles. Oh, yeah, you're right. 1,000 people show up, and if I sign 100 bottles, I try to get out of there. I get called every fucking name. I mean, they calling me Roth and shit. You know what I mean? Man, my fans do not go for it. You got to stay right there all fucking day until the last ones, and everyone's got a story, so it ain't like just sign and go.
Right.
My fans are too intense, but he does it. He goes and he does, Bevmo. He does, a Safeway in-store, a Costco in-store.
It's wild.
And he sits there and signs autographs, takes pictures. That motherfucker's the hardest working guy I've ever met in my life. And when he takes a vacation, he goes out into the wilderness and camps and hunts and does crazy shit.
Wow.
Right? He's like getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and doing East Coast TV.
That makes me think we got to get Bear's Grylls too.
Bear Grylls? Yeah.
I'll try to get Guy to do it, but nailing him down is going to be harder than Bob. Bob's slippery, but Guy's busy.
That's great.
Man, dude, you're the greatest, Sammy.
I'm just one of them.
Yeah. Man, I've enjoyed talking to you, man. What can we encourage people to pay attention to for you?
Wow. That's a beautiful thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like hyping my stuff. I wear my own shirts, but see, I own my brands. I don't endorse. If I endorse something, I wouldn't wear it. So.
All right.
But
What about the Netflix thing? You said you had an episode.
I don't know
come
when
out
it's
in
coming
June?
on. Is all I can say is wait. If you're traveling and you go through an airport and they have a Sammy's Beach Bar and Grill or a Cabo Wabo, because I'm
that's
about to
sweet.
build one in Carolina. Or if you have, if you see something that I, endorse or own in a restaurant, support it, because I take the money and we help other
Right.
people.
You mean something that you endorse or own in an airport?
Yes, in an airport,
In an
because that's
airport,
where I
then-
give all the money away to that community. To
That's
that,
great.
That
Yeah.
city. Yeah. So if you're going to Maui, hey, and the food's good too.
Yeah, I
and
bet.
the drinks are good. But
I
anyway,
bet.
We'll send you a photo of us eating there if we ever show up.
you
on
got
the
it.
bus.
And we didn't even mention that this, what you're wearing, is the, what's it called? Ready to drink, RTD.
Yeah.
Ready to drink, mixed up.
Sparkling rum cocktails, and they're fucking good. Everything I make, I do it because I want to be better than the competition. Like when I told you when I was a rock star,
Yeah.
I don't consider myself a rock. I consider myself a former rock star, but I can still sing and play, and I like to do it. But anyway, I just wanted to be the biggest and the baddest. I was sing faster, play faster, and jump higher, and talk faster. That's the way I feel about when I make a product. I want to. Only reason why I do it is to try. I say I can do better than that. It's like people say, why don't you make fine wine? Because I'm a fine wine guy. I drink Romani Contes and Cheval Blancs and Vega Sicilias, and that's the kind of wine I drink. So why don't you make wine? So it's like, I fucking can't make wine better than that, but I can make RTDs better than that bullshit these fools are drinking. So I did it, and that's all I can tell you. My product, stand behind 100%. I own it. I don't take other people's money. I take on partners if they're the right person. Like Guy Fieri wanted to be part of this tequila, so I brought him on. But it ain't like I'm not a businessman. I'm sorry, I'm not. I got good business sense. I've made more mistakes, though, than most people would imagine. I just had a couple winners.
Yeah, wow.
But no, that's all I want to say. I want to get that off my chest, that if you see something with my name on it, I stand behind it 100%. It's better than the competition.
And if it's in an airport, feel good about it because it's going to help people.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Dude, thank
Steve,
you so much.
take care of yourself. You stay alive. I like you.
Yeah, I like you too,
I'll tell
man.
you a real quick story.
Yeah.
Chelsea's that show. Remember the TV show? Chelsea.
Chelsea Lately?
Yeah, Chelsea Handler.
Yeah, Chelsea Hagar.
Yeah, Chelsea Lately.
She had her end of show party when she canceled her thing, and I was invited, so with some other people. So I went, and they had and I brought my booze in there. That's when I first had my beach bar rum, and your buddy Johnny Knoxville was there, and he. I kept calling him Steve-O all night. And we had our fucking buzz going. Everybody, I always had my buzz on him, and I kept calling him Steve-O. And my daughter Kama was with me. She said it's a long time ago, but she was still hip to you guys. Well, I was hip to you guys too. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, she was like a fan. She kept saying, "Dad, that's Steve-O." I mean, like, what? That's fucking Steve-O, man.
Yeah.
And he didn't say shit. We took pictures, and I'd stand next to him.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. Anyway, I had to tell you that.
I love it.
We should have started with that.
Cold open.
Dad, thank you so much,
Come on,
man.
I gotta
thank you
I
so
gotta
much.
get my wife's camera. I gotta take a picture.
for
I
sure.
want to take it with the front of this fucked up van
I
too.
love
Come on
it.
now, I gotta post that
You
shit
know,
up.
the last person we had in here was Lisa Vanderpump. How about that? Was that something or what, man? Sammy Hagar. And God, that feels like such a long time ago. Like, time goes really slow in Australia, man. This tour is epic, but it's challenging, man. I might be a little bit worn out. I might be a little bit burned out. Dude, thank you for sticking around to the end.